Hi, this is Scott Jordan, and you are watching live here at Cellars of Sonoma in beautiful Railroad Square, Santa Rosa, California. I kind of lied about this. And welcome everybody to TV Tuesday Live. This is the show where we taste wine, we talk about wine, and I got Dave Batt in the house, and he was at a cool property we're going to talk about because we're going to do some fun stuff at this cool property.
Nice,
Don't you think?
nice. I think so.
That's a great location. Tonight is all about Deering wines. We're going to taste through the Deering portfolio.
Okay.
We're going to taste the Grenache Blanc, the Rosé. We did taste it last week, but we'll do that one again. Their Russian River Pinot Noir, and then their Sonoma Valley Zinfandel, and then their Ideal, which is a red blend, and is really cool.
It's a deal.
It's a deal, a better red. And then the 09 Cab, which rocks the house pretty
Nice.
good.
09.
So, man, busy this last weekend. Holy Toledo, happy Thanks. I mean, what was it? Valentine's.
One of
I knew it
those
was one of those.
holidays. Yeah.
It's the red one. I had to go through my head and go, what color? It had a color to it, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Valentine's was.
Valentine's Day.
Man, we had Twin Souls in, which is Shauna Miller and her boyfriend. She plays piano. You guys got to check that out. I'll have the video up on the website. She can sing, man.
She can sing, and you know what? He can sing too.
No, he can too. It's a really neat match. Those two. We'll get them in another time too, because they're scheduled next month as well. So we'll get them in,
Good.
and that was just great entertainment. It fit real good with the Valentine's gig.
The whole couple thing.
Yeah, it worked out like
Right.
man. But those of you from other parts of the country, I do have to say, I had an epic day. We were not open yesterday. It was President's Day, so my wife and I were off. And so we went wine tasting, and we went up into the valley, ended up having lunch at Truett-Hurst, which isn't a bad
So you're
spot.
up in Dry Creek Valley.
Dry Creek.
Dry Creek Valley.
Yep, about 14 miles north of here. It was epic. Sorry, guys. I was in shorts and a short sleeve shirt, sitting on the river in Adirondack chairs with my sandwich and a bottle of wine. And,
Nice.
I mean,
Can't beat that.
I don't know where the heck you could do that in February.
It's one of the few wineries where you go by and there's a sign out front that says you can see the fish. Fish are running today or something?
Yeah. It's not part of the Russian River, if you're familiar with the area. It actually is a river draining off of Lake Sonoma. So it runs all year. The Russian River gets dry in the summertime in a lot of places. So, but that river runs pretty fast.
It does.
And you can put these glasses on that they'll give you. They're infrared.
Yeah, they're like polarized.
Polarized, that's
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
Infrared, I'm thinking of this. Anyway, you can do that and you can actually see the fish. It's really cool. But it's a majestic fun.
And the fish wear glasses so they can see him.
Yeah.
They have little noses on the front.
And you went over to 32 Winds
32 Winds.
today. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's a
Excellent.
neat
Nice.
that's a neat
Yeah.
spot, and we'll talk about an idea that I have that I want to do. It relates to that particular
Excellent.
winery. So let's get right with it. We've got 6 wines here to taste. This is a neat wine, 2012 Grenache Blanc. The fruit comes from Santa Barbara, only because you can't get Grenache Blanc much around here, right?
Pretty much can't. No.
I mean, I really don't know
There's
too
a
many.
little bit of it around here, but not enough to really do a commercial effort. Yeah.
So this is well. Let me. I've got great notes on this. It's 100% Grenache Blanc. They fermented this half in stainless steel and half in neutral oak.
So when you do neutral oak, you don't pick up any oak textures and things, but what happens, the wine becomes a little smoother. So they're looking for a little bit of that smoother, rounder wine.
It's a roundness you get
Yeah.
on the tongue, which I really like, and I like a Sauvignon Blanc to do that as well. I don't want to impart the oak, but I do like what it kind of rounds the mouthfeel out a little bit. Let's see, it aged 11 months in stainless steel barrels before bottling, so that's a pretty long time.
It is.
Not huge on the alcohol, 14.5, so about 180 cases though, not a big production. They're saying that you should notice a little lemon, cantaloupe, I get that. Scampi, risotto, that,
I don't get that.
yeah. So, this
that's what
pairing.
yours was.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh.
this pairing. I'm reading it. I'm looking at this. I'm going, wow, that's a
where
weird
that
thing.
came from.
The hell am I getting? Chicken. I didn't know you could have chicken. Yeah, so a wine like this, even though a lot of you guys that are watching from other parts of the country, it's really, really cold, like really cold, and they have that white stuff again. I don't really get that.
Well, here it's really cold, right? What was it today? About
It was probably 60 or
60,
58.
yeah. We were, in fact, as I still have my coat on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was overcast, man. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay my mortgage now. It's not fair. So, but you guys in the East Coast and Midwest and all these cold places, you're thinking red wines all the time in this time of year. But really, this is, if you get into some Thai food or you get into some spicy food, this is where you want to hang out.
Oh, yeah.
That
definitely.
Pinot is not going to do it, or that ideal. That's not going to pair up well at all. So for cheeses like feta, goat cheeses, Thai chicken, that would be any kind of a Thai dish, going to work really well. Retails at $27, $22.95 if you're a Cellar Club member. Can't go wrong with that. Those of you that are planning your vacation stuff, we've got an event coming up in 2 weeks now.
Oh.
Is it 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks. Barrel tasting will start, and for the very first year, we've always participated in barrel tasting. It's the first 2 weekends in March, but this year, Super Sonoma is going to bring in a 30-gallon barrel and put it right here, and we'll thief right out of the barrel here, which is kind of cool. If you've never done that, it's a neat experience. There'll be about 120 or 30 wineries participating. It's a real big deal. It's cheap as nails. I think it's $40 for the weekend or something. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So, yeah, pretty cool. You guys in? Yeah, you guys are ready to go. I'm in. Who wouldn't want to be into that? I mean,
Is that straight from the tap on the barrel?
yeah, right out of the tap.
Yeah, that's
Just
it.
they pull that bung off the top of that one, like, yeah. So that's a very cool event. Lots of activity, a lot of fun. Weather-wise, I'd plan for cold or rain. It's rained
Maybe, yeah,
many
yeah.
times. We certainly could use the rain, so we're not going to ever argue. But that's a great one. And again, that's first and second weekend, and then the third weekend is barrel tasting for Sonoma Valley.
That's right.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks after that, I think it's 2 weeks, is Passport for Dry Creek. That's always a fun event. I believe that one is April, but I'll confirm that as we get closer. So, if you need to make plans, just call me first. I know all the right hotels, all the tours you want to go on. I know all the restaurants and all that stuff. So I'm your tour guide. I'm only $100 an hour. It's not a big deal.
No big deal.
Got a
Everybody
little
pitches
money.
in a little bit.
All right, so Grenache Blanc, kind of fun.
It
So
is.
if you're a Sauvignon Blanc drinker, or maybe even the Riesling, because it has a little fruitiness, you're going to like this wine. This is going to work quite well.
Yeah, a Grenache Blanc versus a Sauvignon Blanc. Grenache Blanc has a little more texture to it, so you feel a little more grab in the mouth, which is good because it'll stand up to some bigger foods along the way. Sauvignon Blanc and Grenache Blanc both have a lot of high acids, so they really pretty much pair with the same items
Yeah.
But you know what? You can also, there's a little wider array in my mind to what the Grenache Blanc will offer you in terms of pairing some other foods as well.
Yeah, so you gotta love it. So enjoy that, and great price point. I think you're getting a real bargain on that.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's 2012 fruit, so you know we've been talking about 12, and the thing that I'm going to keep harping on, but I'm hearing more and more rumbling in the industry that if we have a really good crop in 2000, what year is this? 2015? Wow. If we have another good crop in 2015, you're going to see a boost in price. And because we've been in this recession for the last 6 years, really, where things kind of bottomed out and leveled out, the wineries were not in a position to bump their price points like they should based on really good vintage, 12, 13,
Right.
and 14.
Yeah.
The game is over because the economy is going to improve. There will be some changes in our country between now and next year. I'll guarantee you the economy will come back. And when that does, then their price points are going to jump. It makes the 12, 13, 14 very valuable because they didn't take the bump. And so you got to grab that wine, stash it, put it down because you'll have a bargain.
Because what will happen is if the 15,
It's supply and
if the
demand.
15 comes out at a higher price, everything else will elevate as well to kind of bring that up because they're all great vintages now. Plus they have a little bit of age on them too, so they're even worth a little more.
Yeah.
And as people drink them up, they're worth even more. So
So just remember, I'm the one who told you to buy big 12, 13, 14.
I've never heard you say that before.
No, every week I say it, every week, because I keep seeing it, and I'm going, they haven't raised prices. In fact, most wineries in 2008, 9, and 10 dropped their
Yeah.
core retail price dramatically. I mean by 30%,
Right.
right? And they'd love to climb out and deserve to climb out of that, but you know, it wasn't in the cards. Now, a wine that I really like rosé. I'm a big rosé fan. Boy, I went out to Dry Creek and I went to one of our favorite wineries, Kokomo, and that's a cool spot too because that's where you can taste. Did you want that, Andy? You can taste right in the barrel room, which is cool. And the staff over there is really good. The wines were superb.
They were showing well.
They were, I mean, really nice. And the rosé. And then we went to Truett-Hurst and sat by the river, and we had a rosé from them.
Nice.
The cool thing about rosés, good price points. The one I had at Truett-Hurst was like $18. I mean, really?
Was it salmon color?
It was salmon because of the salmon. You know.
Thinking here.
I see. So theirs was made from Kokomo's was made from Grenache, which I like, and so those of you that may not know, when you're doing rosé, it's relatively simple. You're basically just pulling the skins off early, thus leaving just a little hint of color, unless you're super Sonoma, and then
And he does his thing.
he aged it in brand new French oak for 18 months. So that was kind of interesting, but the wine was really good. But that makes this salmon color. It gives you a little structure, but you don't get the tannins, what you feel here in your jaw when you would bite down on a grape's skin. You're going to get this sharp feeling. That's the tannin. But by removing that, you're taking that away. This is produced 100% Pinot Noir. It's all Russian River Valley fruit. It was hand-picked and then hand-sorted. So they put it on this like a conveyor belt,
Conveyor, sure.
right?
Yeah.
And there's people on the other side. And
Sorting table,
and
they
it,
call
and
it,
it, and
yeah.
it vibrates.
Uh-huh.
And so you're trying to move those berries around to get the stems and the crap, the bugs, and all the junk out of there. Because you want a really clean wine, and that's with an ant head on there, that's not going to work real good.
Well, it's important, especially with those kind of wine, to do a good job of sorting, because otherwise you get more of a bitterness to
Yeah.
the product. So that way you avoid that by sorting more carefully. So let me break up for a second here and turn to you guys over here. So I noticed your you're picking up different parts of the palate and so forth with the wine. So what are you saying about the rosé? Are you picking it up on the sides of the mouth, or?
Well, afterwards when you're drinking, I'm getting a little bit of that. But up front, it's a lot up front for me.
Okay, so a lot on the palate itself,
Yes,
and then afterwards
There's not a lot of that in the back part. But
Right,
it's-
okay. Not a lot in the
it's
back
still
part.
wash over.
Okay.
This is kind of very fruity to me, not high in fruit, but a little citrusy.
So fruity, citrusy kind of thing, but not sweet, but not
Yeah,
sweet.
No, I don't think it's sweet at
Right,
all.
okay, yeah.
Don't like a sweet rosé.
Yeah.
No, they they've lost favor
Whichever-
over the years.
Raise your hand if you don't
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
see, there's a lot of them right there, right? Yeah.
All the hands are up.
I mean, the white Zinfandel ruined it for rosés. for
But here's
Right.
here's what you have to remember though. That Sutter Home White Zinfandel is one of the hottest, largest production and biggest selling wine in the world. And it's just,
Drunk everywhere.
I mean, but the cool part is that the wine industry embraced the rosé concept and went in the direction of dry, and that really worked. And it opened up this huge market. In fact, there's a very cool event, and in fact, I think it comes up, I want to say it comes up in May. It's called Pinot, and it's in San Francisco, and it's all rosé producers.
Okay.
And yeah, it's at a restaurant right
We
there.
did that last year.
Did you?
So we know about that.
yeah.
We're big rosé fans.
Well, you saw some rosés from other countries that were really interesting, but you had some really nice rosés. And the interesting demographic for that event is 35 to 65, super high end. It's all the red wine connoisseurs, and they don't talk about the rosé. They just kind of hide it, like, yeah, I do the rosé. It's so funny because you look at that group and you're going, there's no way that guy's a rosé drinker, but no, they are. They appreciate what that does in the meal plan. That's part of the
Absolutely,
meal
yeah.
plan.
Yeah.
That's why you guys in the Midwest and East Coast that are watching right now, you're freezing your buns off and you're going, I'm not drinking anything cold. I'm freezing. But really, like they show here, Mediterranean dishes, Indian dishes. You're all over this. This is going to hold up so much better than a big red if you're doing a meal like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We usually start with the rosé.
Yeah, absolutely. You
It's a
open
great
up the whole
starter,
thing.
right.
It's a great starter.
Starter, yeah.
It'll go with everything. It's real versatile. It kind of cleans your palate a little bit, and that's part of it as well. So don't be afraid of the rosés. You're going to dig them. Don't walk past them. And I'm a rosé nut.
I like
and
them.
everywhere I go,
I like them.
I pick
I
them
like
up.
them.
Yeah, there's only a.
That's your question. I'm really a fan of Tempranillo grapes, and we know young lady does Tempranillo rosés,
Uh-huh.
and to me it's amazing.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, so
that's
the-
one of our absolute favorites. It was a,
You like that? You like that?
The Tempranillo.
Yeah, so Tempranillo is from Spain.
Yes.
It's classic to Spain. And Tempranillo makes a great rosé. Again, you pull the skins away early. It's a very pretty wine, and done right, it has a long finish and so forth there. So yeah, definitely Tempranillo. In the Languedoc region, southern France, Mediterranean part, toward the
But here
Mediterranean,
in Sonoma, California here, a lady in Petaluma, she's making it.
she's making
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
Tempranillo, the
Petaluma.
Spanish grape.
You,
And they-
you see it. You see these obscure grapes that they're using in rosé. The Grenache we had over at Kokomo. I've seen them made out of Syrah or Cab. That are really nice.
There were a
And-
lot of them done in 2008 with all the smoke from the fires. They figured out that the skin was holding a lot of that, the skin was damaged. So they pull the skin away sooner, of course you have rosé. So that led to a lot of interesting exploration of rosé during 2008 vintage at that time. And so they were trying also, whatever you had in the vineyard, we'll try a rosé now. So that,
Yeah, and again, rosés, great value. Here's a beautiful rosé, $22. If you're a Cellar Club member, it's $18.70. Believe me, you cannot walk into Safeway or Kroger's or any of those stores and find an $18 rosé that's Russian River. Ain't gonna happen. Just not gonna happen, and not be handcrafted. They made 47 cases, so
47.
2 barrels, two, okay? rare wines, very rare, and but still in a really nice price point. But I think they nailed it.
I think so too.
Yeah, and
Goes on and on, finish.
And there's two styles in rosé. There's this style, and then there's that one that's a little, it's more of the cat area. Yeah, the cat. I call it cat pea. It's
Yeah.
and that's
I know. I
no,
knew you
it's
were
true
going
though.
there.
No, it's really true, and I'm not a fan, and it's not because some Spanish wines have a diesely nose to them, but the finish is really nice. But that cat pea one doesn't work at all. I mean, it's terrible in the
work for
nose,
you,
and I'm swallowing it, going, that just is not right.
But I just gotta ask you then, have you actually tasted cat pee?
Which is a natural question. Have you ever tasted
Have I ever
cat?
No,
I'm
no.
sure you smelled it.
Yeah,
That's
I have two cats, so I know what that is, and that's just and it's just a weird characteristic, and I don't know what really causes that. Is it just, it's the
It's
way
like
they
the-
produced it somehow.
Yeah, everything in the nose is chemistry, and it's just the chemical combination that leads you to say that feels like it belongs in this category.
That's nice.
Is it
Like
a
it?
desirable, scent and flavor for the wine?
Cat pea as a desirable?
Yeah,
Not to me. I don't see it that often. But every once in a while, I'll get a rosé,
Yeah.
and it's usually in a winery where I don't like any of their wines, but I'm looking for a mercy buy because I don't like to go in and out buy a bottle of wine. It's not the right thing to do. You gotta. I'm
So
in
you
the
go for
industry.
the cheapest bottle, which is Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, or the
rosé.
rosé.
so you're
and-
an easy sell then?
Oh yeah, I'm easy. Oh yeah, absolutely. And so I looked for the mercy buy, and I couldn't even pull the trigger on the rosé. I was like, man, I don't know what to do.
Did you buy a wine opener? Did you buy something?
No, I did use one thing that I used. Let's see, where were we? I was in Paso Robles, and I went to this one winery that I didn't really like, and so I made up. This was my story. I was in there, and I said, "Well, I'm on a mission to taste some wines, so that I can bring my wife back, and we can taste them together, and then decide what we're going to buy."
Right.
And that gave me the out.
Ah, nice.
I just
I'll be
felt
back.
bad. The wines weren't worthy. I just couldn't even do a mercy buy. It was just awful.
Yeah, but they're probably watching tonight.
Oh yeah, don't be. Oh shoot, I did tell him I'd do that. Uh-oh. Oh sorry, didn't use your name, so you never know. But no, I'm usually pretty good. I usually buy. I mean, I have to say, I'm. You got to be a pretty ugly winemaker to. I'm an easy sale. You can get me on something. Yeah, I'm easy.
That works.
Oh yeah, but boy, we had a. Oh, you know what we went to that I have never been to was Diane Michelle
No, Chateau Diane.
Chateau Diana.
Great wines, great price points.
Yeah, you know what I had was we got a bottle of Cabernet Franc from Rockpile. Hooyah! So those of you that don't know, Rockpile is the appellation at the very top of Sonoma County, right above Lake Sonoma.
Yes.
And it says Rockpile because there's rocks. in
You
there.
literally have to, when you want to drive up there from Dry Creek Valley, you drive almost across the dam and across the bridge. on the
Yeah,
way
and go
up,
way the hell up on the hill.
up on the hill. Yeah.
But some pretty nice fruit.
They had trouble when they first tried to go for the AVA and they filed their paperwork.
Yeah.
And when they had the paperwork and they said they were calling it Rockpile,
Uh-huh.
they threw it away thinking it was a joke. And he said,
Really?
what happened to our application? They said, well, that was a joke, right? No, it's real. So they submitted it again and
They needed
finally
a
got it
picture. All you had to
approved.
do was give them a picture, man. There's big ass,
Great
big,
name, though.
giant,
Great name.
freaking rocks in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a nice wine. So so Chateau Diana, is that what it is?
So, yeah.
That's a cool little spot. That has a beautiful view of the valley, of the mountain. And you know, I've lived here a long time and seen it all, but that was a neat view that I had never really seen on that side of the road, looking west against the
Oh,
mountain.
okay.
And everything's green now because we had a little bit of rain. So it was pretty cool. It was, yeah, we had
Good.
we had a good time. That was awesome. All right, now let's get into let's get serious. Pinot Noir, 2010. This comes from the Russian River. This particular wine got gold in San Francisco wine competition in 2014. And this is their first Pinot that they made, very first.
So they didn't have a 2009, they started with 2010.
Started with 2010.
Okay.
It's Rocchioli fruit, so there's nothing wrong with that. The Rocchioli Vineyard, that's some world-class stuff. You know,
They do a great job.
Yep, nothing wrong with that. They used 100% French oak barrels for 11 months.
Okay.
Made 169 cases, so again, not a huge amount. I mean, we're not talking major amounts of wine. And I know you guys are going, well, give me some. Okay. Yeah, please. So, again, hand-picked grapes. And they do that in the early morning. Those of you that have not been to wine country or seen the harvest, they do that very early in the morning because it's pretty warm that time of year. And what you don't want is you don't want all this grapes in the bins to start to ferment.
Right,
They'll
correct,
start
yeah.
to ferment. They don't have any idea where they are. They're in a bin and it's warm, and so they early morning. Sometimes they'll go out at 2 in the morning and bring light stands and shoot
Right,
them up.
absolutely. You can drive through wine country during that time of year, and you'll see strange lights on the horizon, and that's because they're out there they're harvesting at that point overnight. It's cooler. They have a little more time. The wine ends up coming into the winery cool, which helps a lot in the overall making of the wine.
Now, the fermentation that they did cold soaking for 3 days. So maybe you can explain about that. Followed by cultured yeast and 10 days of fermentation. So tell them about the cold
soaking?
What are you doing?
Well,
I mean, I know, but they,
well,
and you're
he
the geek.
knows.
You're the
and
geek.
I'm the geek. I'm supposed to answer these questions. The cold soaking is actually a way for them to watch out for harsh tannins. So what they're trying to do is begin to get that maceration, the whole solution that's going on there before the fermentation starts. And they're trying to sort out a way to not have to deal with the harsher tannins, which tend to be the seeds and that kind of thing. So ultimately, you'll still have a tannic wine, but you have a tannic wine with the kinds of tannins that don't lead to the astringency. You may still have some of that structure, but not the astringency. So cold soaking for a few days does that, gets a head start before you start the fermentation. So you have a little bit of that interaction in solution first, and now it's time for fermentation to start.
How is it coldly done? Do they put ice in it, or is it refrigerated, or?
Yes,
So the question
yes,
is,
and
how
yes.
do they cold? Yeah.
Well,
dr-
if you do the 2 a.m. picking, the cool thing is it's already cold and it stays cold for a long time. If you end up bringing things in that are warm, if you pick at 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
overnight you see the spotlights and everything else, they want it to come in cold, and that's naturally cool. So they want it as cold as possible coming into the winery. If for some reason it's warm, it's a particular warm season, or they're bringing it in later, literally they'll do dry ice, for instance. You'll see them
And
adding
cool
dry
that
ice
sucker
and
down,
cool it
'cause-
down. But it's really tough once you have tons of grapes in a pile to cool them down evenly. So it's always better to bring them in cool. That's why you're starting early in the day and bring them in and beginning to start
And you're
that
bringing them
process.
into the cellar where it's
already
very
cold.
cold. So
Yeah.
so that helps. And then 10 days of fermentation after the skins are gently pressed. Pinot is done completely different than any other varietal, right? I mean, well,
No,
some
it's
do
different,
the
yeah.
open top, but the tanks, the stainless steel tanks, or some of them are done actually wood tanks, but stainless steel tanks, the tops are open. And so they take these plungers, looks like a big cylinder actually, like a piston. Not a piston, I mean it'll come to me. But it's like a big round disc with a stick on it, and they just push the cap down, but they do it gently. And you gently do that because the skins are very thin. You don't want them to pulverize, and you want them to stay intact as much as you can.
That's right.
And be
because
very gentle.
The
with it.
skins will tend to float back up at the top and create what they call a cap. and it'll lock off, and you'll have carbon dioxide below, so you want to break that up so the carbon dioxide escapes. You push it back down to the bottom because you want it to go through again the same process, and that's what begins to give it its color. And that's how you get the color off the skins into the solution.
I
Now-
think I've actually witnessed that in Mendocino where they were doing some wines from open barrels, but you
Yes.
could see it bubbling.
Yes.
And that's what was going on, and they were telling me it was carbonation.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so that's a part of the process that eliminates me from being a winemaker, because now you're getting into a job, and I look at it as a job, and it's not a passion for me, so I can't go there. But it's just so, there's so much going on, there's so many steps, and it's just work to me. So I don't make wine. I leave it up to them. Maybe someday, yeah, I just drink it. I'm the finished product guy.
That's good.
You know, well, I mean, I know my part. I'm seriously, that doesn't intrigue me at all. It does not.
I've heard winemakers say, you know, I'm a winemaker because I'm not the vineyard guy, because at 2 a.m. I get a call saying we have a freeze in the vineyard and we have to get out there and do something about it. And they at all hours, or the storms are coming or whatever. So the vineyard guys are the kind of the ones who really take that on big time.
Oh, yeah.
The winemakers, okay, a little bit, and sometimes they wear both hats. And then the guy over here who drinks the wine for a living, well, that's kind of a cool
Yeah,
gig.
all I
That's a
want to
cool
do is,
gig.
I just want to siphon off a few, samples and move on here.
Good gig.
But yeah, I'm not doing the racking and, oh God, I worked, when I first started in the business, I worked for Pine Ridge Winery, and that's a really big cave system. But in the cave system, they have racking stations where you literally, you pump the juice out of the barrel into stainless steel tanks, then you move the barrels to this racking area, and it's got these jets, and you lay the barrel over it, and it's got these jets. It cleans out the barrel, and then they rack it back up on the thing and pump it back in. And
Did you enjoy doing that?
no, I didn't do any of it. I was like, there's no way I'm doing all that. It's like, these guys are hauling butt too. They're going to really fast. It's amazing what they do with that. No, that's like work. I went right back into the tasting room, said, I'm pouring wine.
Got it.
I like it, I see it, I know how it works, don't want to do it. No, I just don't, you gotta have passion. It's
Well,
just,
I don't think the boutique wineries have to go through all that, do they?
oh, hell yeah, oh, absolutely.
Really?
Oh, you
Obviously
don't,
less quantity.
so
but
the
less
question,
labor.
the question was, do the boutique wineries have to do that? Absolutely. And they have to do it themselves. You don't skip steps just because of your size. You still do the same racking, you still do the same punch downs,
Right.
you use French oak, maybe some newer oak. I mean, you baby that just like the big guys do all day long. Absolutely. That's what makes world-class wines.
We have property and we have grapes and we do our own wine.
Yes.
On our property.
Uh-huh.
We don't go through all that. We press,
Right.
we set up.
Because you're not trying to do, you're,
Some years are bad.
yeah, I mean, you're not trying to do a commercial product that you want to get a
We get a
good
lot of
rating on.
bottles, believe me.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's a family recipe kind of thing
Yeah,
where everybody's
yeah.
involved in it at your family vineyard there. For the commercial establishments, they need to do certain things that allow them to put it into the marketplace and recover that overhead that they've created for themselves. So there's a certain standards that go with that too.
Well, this is a beautiful wine. I have no issues
Is there a question?
whatsoever.
Beautiful.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question between you two. Being a boutique property, or a smaller vineyard or whatever, do you have a lot more flexibility in what you do, more so than what the general public would expect from a larger producer?
Well,
So let me just, so 'cause then the audience
microphones
here
are
is
here, so-
probably picking that up. As a smaller producer, micro producer, without a doubt, do you have more flexibility on what you can do and so on? Which,
Yeah, well, we tend to have three types of grapes on the property. I believe it's an Alicante, an old Spanish vine that we carry, and it's red
Super
fruit.
dense right now.
Uh-huh.
That's the only one we do as itself. We
Is
only
that
produce
Avicante?
that.
It's Alicante
Alicante.
Boucher.
Alicante Boucher.
Yeah.
We just do
that's a
that one
cool
by
grape.
itself.
It's
by
a
the
very
way.
cool grape.
That's
Yeah,
a very,
the other
very
ones
cool.
we blend. And it's for us, it's just family and we
So,
put
so
up-
it's a family operation, repeating for these folks, family operation. You've got Alicante Boucher, which
Which is
is like your big
killer.
That's
killer
right.
product,
That's bad.
and that's a great grape to work
They
with.
do not go through all these steps you're talking about.
So I think in the end, I think they're really smart.
Yeah.
If
Go
it's
ahead.
for family, they're really
We've got
smart.
another question here from Karina.
Yeah.
It just means that some years they're good and really nice, and some years it's not so good.
Well, that
Right.
works that way too. Go ahead, Karina. You had a question from the.
Brad would like to know what happens to the skins after they have been removed. Are they?
Oh, that's a great question. So once you are done with the skins or you've pressed everything off, there's a couple of secondary markets. You can talk to that because you have a product.
I do.
That relates to
So
that.
thank you, Brad, for asking that
Yeah,
question.
that's a-
probably why you did that, right?
I don't know. apparently, I'm supposed to send him a check. I don't know what the hell that was all about. So I don't know.
I did bring that. Right
Did you
there.
bring the check? Okay, good. 'Cause, yeah.
First of all, almost all of the times in the sustainable vineyard practices right now, what happens is those are removed and put back into the soil through compost and so forth. And that's kind of level one of level two is there are certain techniques that happen. We tasted, Scott and I tasted a Valpolicella, where you actually take the skins and put them back in with the new juice to start the fermentation. In Italy, they do this a lot. And there's somebody who just popped up in Sonoma County who's starting to do the practice, doing the drying of the skins for 4 months and moving through doing what they call a ricciotto. They do a ripasso, which is a lower level, ricciotto being higher level. There's a variety of things that there are practices that use those skins for more winemaking. And of course, there's this whole idea of using what's left over anyway for grappa. So you got that going
Yeah,
on. I'm giving you a catalog of things.
Boy, I've had some nasty grappa. Man.
And lots of hands go up with
Oh,
that,
and
yes.
burn a hole in your.
Too strong for me.
Oh my God.
But the one that most intrigues me is the one that I've interacted with as a consultant. They take the harvest of the skins, they take the harvest of the seeds, separate them out, they grind the seeds up into flour, which is gluten-free flour, high antioxidant nutritional flour. You take about 5% out of your family recipe, put this stuff of what you usually use for flour, put this stuff in, you've got flavor, texture, color, interesting things happen. So that's something that is a market that's just beginning to come up. You can squeeze those until you literally bring out the oil of the grapeseed oil. I know you can get grapeseed oil at the store, but that's kind of been killed by the solvents that they use to make it. This stuff is fresh, and every varietal has a different character to it. If you take the grapeseed oil from Chardonnay and you put it over buttered popcorn, you don't need butter anymore. So think about the health consequences of that because it's very buttery.
Really?
So as you make your popcorn, so that's something kind of interesting.
So
And
eating
it's-
popcorn that has a butter flavor would be good for me.
there you go.
I'm liking that. I can do
It's
that. I'm
working.
all over that.
And you're helping the waste stream. You're helping the waste stream of the vineyards.
Wow.
And then ultimately, you can take the skins and do the same thing. Grind them up, turn them into flour. If you look at the colors by varietal, they're all kind of very interesting rainbow colors. Do other products with skins too.
Okay,
They've
so
just-
that's really.
on and on.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Boy, that's you're getting right
Yeah,
into
yeah,
that.
there's a lot of stuff that they do with that. and
That's
they're just
pretty
discovering
cool.
a
So
lot of
good
that now.
question, Brad. That was a very good question, and yeah, everybody's getting creative. You know, give it back. You know, repurpose. I guess is the
The
mantra there.
USDA's top project right now that they gave a fund, gave some money to is to look at grape skins and decide what they can do with that.
Yeah, because not everybody actually in the in the vineyards, some of them may not necessarily need to till that into their soil
right, yeah,
because the composition of the soil is correct. It doesn't need to be enhanced or changed with that. So they have to then get it to something else. So that's a great avenue for doing that. Wow. Love it. Yeah, it works. Works in that renewable world. You use it over and over.
Or use all of it.
Yeah, right. Keep using it. Yeah.
Use it all.
We have the old school press. So
Yeah. Yeah, the old
we
school.
throw those out.
Yeah. There's a purpose now. There's a purpose. To make
Absolutely.
some cake with it. You make some bread. I like that. Okay, 2010 Pinot Noir Russian River, the very first Pinot, gold medal at the Chronicle tasting in 2014. 2 thumbs up for Deering. $50 retail, $42.50 if you're a Cellar Club member. That's a beautiful one.
Nice.
Nice start. Nice
Showing
start
well.
for them. All right, let's get serious. Okay, let's get into it. 2010 Zinfandel. We just had this in the wine club shipment, I think. We did, right? Sonoma Valley fruit from the Glen Ellen area. Let's see what my notes say about this wine here. This is their 4th vintage from their organic estate vineyard. Does that say organic on the label anywhere, Andrew?
Probably not.
There's a lot of discussion about the organic.
Well, I would like to know the difference between organic.
Yeah. Well, Dave can tell you the technical side of that. I can tell you the practical side. Most wineries try to practice organic farming as much as they can. There comes a real difficult decision in that if you have a weather condition that's throwing off your vintage, if you're organic, you're not moving off the dime, you're staying right with that program. You might not have the crop that you thought you were going to have. You might lose a crop.
The limits of organic are that because it's so limiting, you don't have the flexibility to adapt with your expertise to turn out great wine on the other side. If you have enough moisture at the wrong time, you need to get out there and put some chemicals on the vines that are still kind of natural to the environment, but the practices for organic do not allow that, so you're right about that. Organically grown grapes is different than organic wine. Organic wine follows the practices in the winery itself as well as in the vineyards. So there's a distinction between that. So a lot of times you'll see on a bottle organically grown grapes. And for the most part, those who go through that effort, and for the most part, generally the major wineries and growers around here follow sustainable practices.
They're pretty good about it too. I mean, they really do. They want to follow that as much as possible, and for the most part, they probably all the way through the process are doing organic farming. They just haven't got certified, and they don't want to handcuff themselves, and that's the argument, because they don't want to handcuff themselves if they have to break away a little bit in a bad year to continue that wine. Tough decision, but you gotta. It's a business too.
It is.
But they're pretty good. I gotta say they're probably 90%, 95% right on the money. Really trying to be good stewards to the land, good stewards to all the farming process. Yeah, they do.
Less chemicals, I hope.
Well, yeah, and they know that, and so they're definitely in tune with that. The sulfur that they use is a natural component in wine anyway, so that's organic. That's not an issue. There's other things that you could do in pest control. Yeah, the pest control is the biggest issue that probably would turn you.
Yeah, in the coastal vineyards where the finer wines come from, versus the Central Valley area. Central Valley is driven by agricultural mores or ethics. They need to turn out a lot of stuff and make it good and consistent. They'll do whatever it takes to do that. And sometimes that means that they need to spray differently than they do on the coastal vineyards. Generally, you'll see those who are really mindful of these issues will watch out. They'll have what they call integrated pest management, IPM. They'll make sure that they are using, for instance, other insects to take care of the insects. Or you'll see, every once in a while you open up a wine spec there and see a chicken saying, here's our vineyard manager, because what they'll do is they'll put chicken houses on wheels and roll them around to wherever the bug problems are. The bug problems get solved really quickly, and there's no chemical involved. Actually, there's some fertilizer that comes back. So it's really a cool process.
Yeah, and chicken in your wine is not a big deal.
So it's really thinking about that whole thing that we're all kind of thinking about now. And so more and more consistently, especially the major purveyors, those who have really been involved and really care about that, are trying their best to follow those kinds of practices, because
really
it just
are.
simply makes sense.
Yeah, they're good. They're good at it. This wine, best of class in the San Francisco Chronicle tasting. That's not too shabby. That's a great. This is a single vineyard, actually. This is my Akama fruit. I said Glen Ellen. It's really not. It's on the other side. It's up on the hill. in the Mayakama Mountains. They were hand-picked and hand-sorted. They also did cold soaking for 3
Okay.
days. And then skins were gently pressed, like you did with the Pinot Noir, and they settle them in the tanks for 5 days, and then put them in barrel aging, aged 18 months in about a third new French oak. So
now you're picking up the oak character in that.
yeah, they did 444 cases. Kind of an odd number. I don't know how they come up with that, but
Well,
that's
that's
okay.
3 barrels plus some samples going into the winemaker's cellar for future drinking.
Yeah, so this wine, very versatile with all of your meal planning. Quail they put down. It was a possible chili, Italian sausage, no problem. Cheddar, Gouda, dry Jack. Aged Gouda, yeah. Yeah. And they say they think that it pairs nice with chocolate and red raspberry mousse. So
All right.
I'm way okay with that. So it
That
doesn't.
sounds good.
You know, I'm not saying it's dessert wine, but I'm just saying if you got to that point and you're at dessert and you're still on that, you're probably going to be okay. I mean, because it's going to hold up. It's a little jammy. It's a jammy wine, big mouthfeel, but nice and soft, good finish. Mountain fruit works really well. I mean, it stresses the vines a bit.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, hats off on the 2010 Zinfandel, and we have the older vintages of this wine, and the older vintages are on a 3-bottle mix and match, 30% off on the Zin. So you take advantage of that while we still have those. Those
Nice.
are great wines.
Would not the Zin be something you could also hold on to a couple of years?
Yeah, so aging on this probably 5 to 7 years wouldn't hurt at all.
I think it would help.
It's just going to soften up quite a bit. It'll settle things down, and you'll really enjoy it. The key is, and these are small producers, and I keep harping this, but it's true. You buy a case of this wine, you set it, lay it down, and then every 6 or 8 months you pull a bottle and have it with the dinner, and you're going to see the progression of that wine and really see where it's going, and know that, wow, if I just put a couple more years on this, this is going to be a magnificent wine, and you'll spread it out over a longer period of time. So that's on a small producer, and I keep harping this, but when these wines are gone, they're gone. There's no secondary market. There's no distributor to call up and go, give me 20 cases. No, it's gone, it's over, done. T.R. Elliott, just a shout out for Ted Elliott, his Burgonnet Pinot Noir just got 94 points from Wine Enthusiast.
Nice, huh?
Yeah, that's unbelievable. He made 8 barrels of that. That's rock stardom, because you get over like 92, 93, you're in another category.
That's true.
94 is the next category, and it goes from a great wine to exceptional. So it's like another. And I'm not saying you live and die by the scores. Let the wine speak for that. But that wine deserved it. 8 barrels. So you only made 8 barrels. So we're talking small wine. Well, guess what? The last 3. What do we got? 3 cases in here. That's it in the world. In the world, there is
We
none.
got some from you guys, and we have a couple we're sitting aside. and
Yeah.
We have one here.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, that's your ideal small production. Speaking of ideal.
Hey, what a great lead
wow.
in. You must be a professional.
I must be. Well, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on this weekend. Your slides are in order there, Karina, for our music. And we've got John Pita in on Thursday, 7:30 to 10:30. The Reverend John Pita. His church is Discovery Church, and he's had that church going for a year now. Isn't that great? I mean,
Does he have a tip jar in the church like he does when he does the music?
oh yeah, there'll be an offering.
Oh,
He'll do an
okay,
offering,
all right.
but he's the Reverend John Pita.
We're talking about the pita bread.
Yeah. Oh no. Wrong Pita.
Oh.
So that's John on Thursday, and then Friday I've got Craig Corona. And if you like James Taylor, if you like John Denver, if you like 70s music, this guy,
Cat Stevens.
Cat Stevens all day long. Oh my gosh. I mean, this guy is the stuff. What a great entertainer. That's so good on Friday. And then Ricky Allen Ray on Saturday. Ricky Allen Ray. You want blues? You got the blues with Ricky Allen Ray. So come down, enjoy that. We added quesadillas to the menu, so we now do quesadillas. We have a chicken
They're good.
quesadilla.
They're good.
And a cheese quesadilla. So you'll never be hungry here because we can feed you too. So you never have to leave, actually. You could actually live here.
Yeah.
We have living quarters upstairs. It's pretty cool.
I like it.
Can't drive home, just sleep here, man. I have couches. I got 5 couches up
We
there.
have shipping containers. You send yourself home.
Yeah, well, we can ship, yeah. So this is the ideal. It's a red blend, 2010, and I'm telling you, I'm really digging the 10s. Cold year, it was difficult. You had to be a real winemaker. I could never have made wine in that scenario. This got a double gold. Does anybody know what a double gold is? Don't say anything. Does anybody know what double gold means? Double gold means that all of the judges gave it a gold, as opposed to the majority saying gold. Everybody said gold. That's a neat thing to get in the Chronicle. Yeah, that's right. Now, this is a neat red blend. It's 30% Cab. It's 38% Syrah, 30% Petite Syrah, and then 2% Zinfandel. And you probably wonder, how do you come about that? What happens is during the aging process in the barrel, they're literally pulling samples and getting beakers, and they're measuring in there along on each of the beakers and making all kinds of notes on the combinations and keep playing with the combinations until they get right to the end, and they do it one more time and they go, okay, 1%, 2%, 30, 38,
They're
done.
literally doing the math because this small
Yeah,
batch
yeah.
becomes the entire.
Mhm.
Sounds like you're big.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I have a question. You
Yes,
know,
go
some
on.
of these bigger wineries want to keep their wine consistently
Right.
tasting. And with the blends, do they not? Or don't the blends change through the years because they want to keep it tasting the same?
Yeah, so the question is, do the blends change throughout the course of the year? And it's not, it's the same.
Through the years, you know,
Years.
like 1 year they might do a
Yeah,
little
what-
bit more of this,
Yeah,
less of that.
yes,
or-
because every single year is a different climate,
Yeah.
soil component,
Yes.
the rain, the cold, the, rain before bud break, during bud, late frost, early frost. And then your program might be evolving too, but so that formula is going to change. But they try to do it in a formula. You don't want to recreate it every time. You want to kind of go with the same idea to keep consistency in the wine. And so the numbers will change a little bit, but that basic formula might be the same.
I would say
Same
that
4 grapes.
That $2 chuck always tastes the same.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's no question. $2 chuck is the same every time.
Although $2 chuck now is $2.99, but
Is it $2.99 now?
some places.
It's not $2 anymore.
It's $3 chuck.
It's three
Yeah,
chucks.
$2.99.
Is it really? Oh my god.
Well, but if you need some more peppery or some more edge of tannin because you want to keep it what it was last year, you adjust your formula so you end up with that. And that's what you're really getting at. and that's actually
what I'm
right.
getting
Blending is permission to be able to offer as consistent as nature can with your help, give you the same thing you loved last time.
That's been my experience. Is
Yeah.
that the blended wines tend to be the most consistent.
Right.
Now, this one has a light peppery flavor to it.
Yeah.
I love a red pepper. That's one of my favorites. of the
That's
red
probably
wine.
more of the Petite Syrah Zinfandel that's in there that's causing
Got
that.
A little bit of it there.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely,
not-
absolutely.
It's not as much as I like, but I do love a good peppery.
Yeah, yeah. This aged for 20 months in a 3rd new oak.
Okay.
So it had some nice aging. 274 cases. So again, not a huge production. We're talking pretty small, but yummy.
Yeah.
And ageability.
Yeah. that's-
10 years, 15. I really don't have a problem with that. It's got plenty of ageability.
Yeah.
And those of you that don't know, 10 was a tough year, man. You had to be a real winemaker. We had late rains during bud break. We had a cold summer. We had we did a bunch of leaf removal and then spike in the temperature to 103 degrees, frying a bunch of fruit. So you had to be a real winemaker to make 10 work. But everything I've had in the bottle, I'm digging the 10s. I'm really liking 10.
Right.
And it was one of those vintages where they said they put it off, just move on and, let's go to, 11, 12 and move on. But no, in the bottle, it's performing.
And this one sets up as a setting for years, it could be still get better.
Well, it's going to get softer. Yeah, the tannins are going to soften up. It's going to get.
integrate really
It's got
well. Yeah.
plenty of fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. What's your question there?
I noticed that this is a little bit more expensive than the Zin, but I'm not used to a blend being more expensive than something else.
So the question is you're noticing the difference in price point
Yeah, not
between.
so much, but I noticed the blend was
Yeah.
more expensive than
Well,
what it's
you've got a fair amount of Cabernet Sauvignon, which is a high-end
Okay,
grape, much higher price point.
okay.
And then Syrah, it can be up in that category as well. So that kind of pushes it
And
a
even
little
the
bit.
Syrah, yeah.
And then you went 20 months in French oak. On the Zin, what did we do on the Zin? 18
18.
months, third new. So all of those are components that, change that. Plus, you've got blending among 4 grapes versus 1. So you've got some work to do. And yeah, so that's
Good question.
That's a great question. Yeah.
Because
But remember,
so often people say, "Oh, a blend that's not gonna be as good as the 100% thing." But the reality is, for consistency, blends will be so much better for you if you're looking for consistency. There's just so many more reasons why. For Bordeaux, for instance, does blends in their 5 grape mix and some other things. Whereas if you go to Burgundy in France, it's 100%. So that means you're going to get these variations, and the price points are going to go like that too. But in Bordeaux, they can adjust for that. So it's actually kind of a cool thing that they do, the blends.
Yeah, don't
it is
walk-
more work.
Look when you're looking for to experience what we call a red wine, which could mean a blend. Look for the appellation as your starting point. In California wines, if it just says California on the label, that means the fruit could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
but if it's more specific, like an actual appellation, Russian River, Alexander Valley, Dry Creek, now you're most likely going to have some better fruit, and that may ultimately be a much better wine. In pairing, barbecued spare ribs, they suggest fillet of tuna. Yeah, I like tuna. That would be real good with tuna. And they also said dark chocolate truffle. So they're thinking end of the meal, because you meal plan, but your wine kind of lingers, and so sometimes you end up with that at the end, and so you're at the dessert. So don't be afraid that you don't have to have port every time you're doing.
Sometimes you don't want the sugar.
No.
Having
Yeah.
sugar dessert.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I like ports at certain times, but I'm okay with putting this against a little truffle or some chocolate or.
Yeah.
Nice.
This one definitely.
Yeah, it's just nice mouthfeel. So retailing as $45, $38.25 if you're Cellar Club member. I mean, that doesn't get any better than that. All right, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cab is king, and this is 2009, which was an interesting year here. 2009 in Sonoma County, we had more fruit than we had barrels. So you could have drove up and down the valley as I did, and I started to cry because I saw these vines with beautiful fruit on them. No vessels.
Or swimming pools filled with wine.
Yeah, I mean,
Great
no
juice.
place to put the fruit, man. So you were hosed. You were totally hosed, and it doesn't make sense to even try to pick it because you got nowhere to put it.
Okay, I have a simple question. It's, why is it the king grapes?
Oh, because it commands a big price point. It's very popular, although in California, Chardonnay is actually the best selling wine.
Is it considered more like a cult wine? Like Silver Oak is a cult wine per se, or
Is it considered cult wine? Not in itself, but It's just very popular. People like it a lot, and it's it's the basis of the Bordeaux grapes. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
Bordeaux,
you know,
France, it's the number one over there. It's used substantially over there.
Yeah, this
Here too.
this was Mayakama mountain fruit. This got best of class at the Harvest Fair right over here,
Oh.
2012. 100% cab. They were handpicked from a 50-year-old volcanic dry farm, hillside vineyard, which is interesting. So dry farm meaning there's no drip irrigation. They're going with what's there.
Well, that's how Ray does it in his place.
Yeah, it's just whatever God said you're going to have in water is what you got.
Yeah, we don't irrigate.
If you need more water, you're not getting it from that vineyard.
Yeah, we don't irrigate, and the fruit every year is wonderful.
Now, this one aged a little different than the other ones. This aged 22 months, but in brand new French oak, all of them, 100% new oak. And again, what I want you guys to know on small producers, they're not buying 20,000 barrels, they're buying one at a time. They pay premium prices. Those barrels are probably $1,100 a piece. KJ gets them for about 800. So I mean, it's an expensive part of the process, but it does wonders.
So I have a basic question.
Okay.
I don't understand why it's always French oak. What is the difference between white oak, black oak? There's a lot of oaks in the world.
Sure.
Texas. What is it about French oak is why they make the barrels out of it?
Yeah,
And are these barrels used or new?
well, some of the programs they use a combination of new and 1 or 2 year old barrels. You can buy American oak barrels, but it will impart a completely different set of aromas and flavors and textures. And they lean a lot toward the French because they're, in my book, they're a little more elegant. I think that the American oak is a little sharper in my finish, maybe more vanilla. I don't know. I'm not a real big American oak guy.
I don't think I've ever
And-
tasted a wine that was American oak. So I've
Yeah,
never heard of it.
Silver Oak is a perfect example. In Napa, that
okay.
that wine is 100%
100%.
brand new American oak.
Although
Well,
they've
I'm
been-
going there next weekend.
Yeah,
well, you'll hear they're sneaking some of the other stuff in, but right now, I mean, classically, they've been American oak. American oak, usually from Michigan or Pennsylvania. It's dried there, and the whole process that happens there, it's like anything else with the terroir, the landscape, and where the grapes are grown, the soil. It's all about what is growing there. The French oak from the best forest over there have been honed over many years. They have a lot of history. They know what it's going to do in a barrel and so forth. So it gives them a lot of data with which to work too, so they understand. I think I'm going to need medium toast or heavy toast or toasted heads, which is the ends of the barrel. So those all what that does is it breaks down and brings out the sugars. If you think in terms of sugars coming out of a tree in Vermont and turning into syrup, same idea. There's sugars in the wood that come out when you burn them and toast them, and so that introduces a different character. So you have all the local nuances coming to you. Hungarian oak, which is very thick grained, so it changes it entirely versus American versus
I
French.
had some Hungarian wine, and it wasn't Hungarian oak, and it was very, very.
It is very different. Yes.
You're
So-
saying basically reds are okay to do in oaks, in oak, to give it that different flavor than.
Yeah, it's really the winemaker's using it as a tool to say, I want a certain character, so I have
Yeah.
to choose what do I want to oak the entire barrel, including the heads. Do I want to do medium toast? Do I want to do light toast? A medium plus, whatever it is. I want to make sure it's from this particular forest. Some of them get down to, I'm going to mix 3 different forests together.
So my next question would be, there are other hardwoods you can make barrels out of. Do they make wines with that?
You can, and they do, but they all default back to, yeah, they all default
Well,
back to these classic.
It,
you know.
it goes to the end product. I mean, the end user are the ones dictating whether you're using American or French oak. the consumers gravitate in one area or the other, and they want to stay in that particular area, and they like the French oak. It's a little more elegant, I think, in my book. I find it to be a little more elegant.
You know, maple or teak or some other.
No.
Which they never make.
The
barrels
wrong
on.
characteristic. It just imparts the wrong
Oh, okay.
characteristic in there. Yeah, flavors. Yeah,
Has it
in the
been tried,
nose,
though? Has it
in the
been
nose, and in the finish. Yeah,
It must have been tried.
yeah.
And
Oh,
actually, there's a
absolutely.
big study going on right now. that
Redwood
announced-
actually.
Yeah, Redwood,
If you go over to Sebastiani, in their tank room, in their tasting room, they have a giant. The tank is wider than this room. It's huge, giant tank. I don't even know how many gallons. It's big, but that's all redwood. And so there was a time when they were doing redwood, but you know, we've evolved a lot in the wine industry. I think the chemistry side of it has changed, so that they're real clear on what oak does what and what type of wood does what and how does it react with the wine. And
And there are more studies going on now. They just
Yeah.
announced one 2 weeks ago where they're actually looking at neutral oak versus 1 year from different forests and so forth, and beginning to understand what you can expect in the wine as a result of what you chose to do with the barrel program. So
yeah, so that's
Love that.
that's elegant all the way. That is really pretty. That's showing fabulous. I mean, that's right on the money. Retailing it at 65, 55, 25, you're a Cellar Club member. That's pretty right there.
And this
Oh.
one you could lay down for a few years.
Oh man, you could throw 10 years on that like nothing. But you want to have some stashed, so you do it in increments. You pull it out in 6, 8, 10 months increments and see where the wine's at.
Well, the hard part is keeping these stashed now.
Well, I know the problem is friends. I have friends that somehow they get to my stash, and then all of a sudden I look and the damn thing's open, and I'm like, what? And they're going, this is really good, and they're just wine slamming. I'm like,
well,
no,
stop giving me a
stop.
key to your cellar.
Well, I mean, come on. Oh, yeah, no, I don't. Oh, beautiful nose. This is real pretty. I mean, it's a great example of 09.
I love it.
Right?
I love it. Yep.
Yeah, that's pouring really good.
Nelligan
And that's
Road.
with barbecued steaks, some big meats.
I'm thinking ribs.
Yeah. Well, you could. I mean, but
Barbecued ribs are this.
you know, with ribs and a wine like this, it has enough structure. Think spicy in the sauce, because it'll really work well with the wine, and that'll be kind of cool. You'll dig
Yeah.
that.
Tex-Mex, I would think spicy.
Yeah, right. So I gotta love that. So there's the Deering portfolio. I know we're running late, but there's the Deering portfolio all the way through.
Right.
Real solid. They've got an absolutely beautiful. This summer we're gonna have a barbecue in the vineyard in Mayakama over in Kenwood, and we've got a spot all picked out. That's one of those breathtaking where
It
you
is.
just you sit there and you go, really? Because I don't care if you believe in God, but at some point you're going, God made this. It's so cool. I mean, I mean, come on. I mean, you just go, what the heck, man? I mean, there's not a bad look on any. You go a 360. It's perfect all the way around. It's really pretty proper. So we'll have a lot of fun. We'll announce that and do that and do
Excellent.
barbecue.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I think we're gonna do a pig. We're actually gonna do a barbecue pig in the vineyard. So we're working on that. We're working. Yeah, the whole thing. We did it once, and we almost turned Bradford Mountain into from a organic vineyard into a disaster vineyard. We brought a 35 passenger limo bus out, and he drove around the lake to move to position it better, and he got all the way around the corner and he started to sink into the pond. Had that diesel gone in there, yeah, organic schmanic. You're organic as long as we light it on fire. It was crazy. It almost sunk, man. It was going like that. I went, whoa, this is gonna cost millions of dollars. Wow. But it didn't happen. So I want to thank you guys watching from the cold places of the world. Get a blanket and drink rosé, because you know, you can't, you know, even though it's warm here sometimes, it was terrible today. You guys felt sorry for me, didn't you? It was 50 today. No, they didn't.
60 degrees, yeah.
And thank you, Dave, for helping out. And Karina, thanks for fielding that stuff. Andrew, making sure everybody's got their stuff. And Janet and our friends here that are visiting. And I want to thank everybody. And this is where you discover wine one sip at a time here at Cellars of Sonoma. We'll see you next week.
Next time.
Oh, I was gonna say something about the 32 wins. We're gonna do some visits to wineries, and then we'll have some video to play on the show. We're gonna do that because he went and looked today, and he's real clear. When I saw it, I went, "Oh, that's a cool spot." And so anyway, we got a couple ideas. So this is where you discover wine one sip at a time here at Cellars of Sonoma. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.